So we're here again together, my body language buddies. Let's see if this is working. Yeah, this is working. We're live now. Doing great. Let me unmute our main video. I'm going to do this in-depth analysis. As you can see, my voice is a bit raspy now. I'm going to try to take this masterclass as far as I can, as long as I can, to show you all the ways that you can learn from what Camille did to Amber in this cross-examination. I needed some time to watch it again a couple times, take a nap, evaluate it in my mind to pinpoint all the ways and make another editing, a closer editing of the video so we could see it more comfortably. And just show you all the ways that you can apply this for yourself. Okay, I'm gonna show you all the secrets that we can learn from this process. This is like 26 minutes in total. I'm gonna be pausing. We're gonna be reviewing some techniques, like when do you have to let the person like hang themselves, so to speak, an expression, and when you have to apply pressure. How do you mount that heat? You begin to turn up the heat little by little until you take the person where you want them. And finally, when you just have to call it quits and not just shut your mouth, okay? Because what you wanted to do in the first place has already been done, and it's not necessary to go any further. So this is going to be kind of a master class on interrogation. It doesn't matter if you are working law enforcement or a lawyer or anything. This is applicable for anyone. Sorry if my voice still a bit raspy. I even took one of my narcissist candies, but it is still a bit. I think it's the time, it's the weather. A bit under the weather lately. Let's see if we can do this. So we're gonna start. Thanks for your comments. I'm trying to. Okay. Here they are. I lost them. I'm going to try to streamline this as much as I can. Okay. I'm really grateful of all your comments that you're sending. Really, I'm grateful of your likes. Thanks for sending your likes that make this video be seen by more and more people. I'm gonna try to read your comments, but I cannot watch the video, make the commentary, read your comments, and maybe how do I say that? Highlight them at the same time. Okay, I cannot do everything at once because then I will take too much time. If I see a good comment, rest assured I will absolutely highlight. But I'm gonna do this. Let's start. So we're gonna play little by little. I'm gonna, at the moment that I see something relevant, I'm gonna play. But the most relevant thing here that we have to understand is not only that Camille is a shark asking questions. That is no doubt.
Ms. Heard, you just testified that this case has been very hard for you.
But also that they are pitting against a woman against a woman. That is something that is gonna upset Amber from the start. I told you that a couple days ago when there was this cross-examination of Camille to Amber, and I knew that it was on purpose. That is why, by design, because Amber shouldn't like to be pressured or overwhelmed or challenged by another woman. That would be for a narcissist woman. That is something that is in general, with a healthy dose of narcissism. For no woman likes that from another woman. But if you have, that that extra dose of narcissism, well, then that can get a bit heated up. Okay, so that is by design. That is on purpose. They wanted to upset Amber in some way, and of course, Camille was the way to go. Okay, just from a psychological standpoint. That's why when you, for example, you're in your couple and you have to persuade or pressure or something another person, and then you should decide which gender is the one that should talk. This is more appropriate for the moment. Maybe it's more persuasive the man, or it's more persuasive the woman, but it's something that you have to. That's part of the tactics of the moment. Notice the first question. The first question that Camille asks.
Ms. Heard, you just testified that this case has been very hard for you. So let's talk about that.
This case has been very hard for you, so let's talk about that. Okay? She's opening not in a challenging way. Okay? She's not being, how to say that? She's not being like trying to go against her or trying to confront her, but she's saying, this has been hard for you. Well, let's talk about that. Okay? That's a technique to make people more or less at ease, or Amber knew where Camille was going for. Okay, so it was not a secret, but it's something that you can do. Okay, you said Camille is acknowledging this case has been hard for you. So let's talk about that. It's a way of trying to lower the person's defenses. Okay, that is important. You want to lower the person's defenses to be able to set up the trap where they're gonna fall. We're gonna be watching it. Please pay attention to every one of these tips, because there are too many of them. So I'm gonna be talking about many of them, and I know that many of them are gonna ring to you. Maybe now, maybe for some experience from your past, and most probably at any point of the future, you're gonna remember. I remember that master class from Camille Vasquez in the cross-examination. I'm saying Vasquez like Elaine. What the F? Camille Vasquez doing cross-examination of Amber Heard. I remember this tip. Okay, please, at first, put people at ease. That is important. Okay, try to make them relax.
Why?
Play the good cop.
All right. Your lies have been exposed to the world multiple times, right?
In this moment, she just for the throat. Okay, that is that complete unbalancing. She says, "Well, this case has been hard for you. Let's talk about that." And all of a sudden, she throws the first jab. Okay, your lies have been exposed to. You've been exposing your lies to the world. Let me play that again, because that is pure bliss. That is instantly. She's setting up the tone of what's going to come.
Your lies have been exposed to the world multiple times, right?
Notice that Amber also blinks twice when he hears the words lies. Okay? Very tiny, very subtle emotional reaction, but there it is. It landed. Okay? And blinks are something that you can see from really far away. You can watch blink from 30 meters, from what is it? Was that in feet? That is 90 feet. You can see blinks from that distance. It's not that hard. So there was emotional reaction to that. Let's continue.
Times, right?
I haven't lied about anything I've been here to say.
You sat.
Notice that every time, I've repeated it many times, that every time Amber answers, she turns completely towards the jury. I've never lied, blah, 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 in an unnatural way. That's not the way that humans talk. That is very bad advice from her attorneys, because they're telling her that she has to connect with the jury and look at them at any moment she can. But she should not be doing that in answers that short, because it looks forced. And whatever is forced rests credibility. It just takes away from your credibility. Unnatural force will subtract from your credibility. Keep that in mind. That is important. Okay, let's continue.
Here and told this jury that the events in Hicksville started with Mr. Depp getting really upset about a woman leaning on you. Is that correct?
Yes, that's effectively what happened, yeah.
Camille starts with a recollection of something that is rather innocent, so to speak, for whatever, all the things that we're gonna see here in this 20 minutes is gonna be, this is like the lightest part, okay? That is important. You should be able to escalate progressively the heat, okay? So the person thinks that they can manage this, that they've got this, okay? That it's gonna be, even if there's that threat at the beginning, that you have been exposed your lies to the world, your lies have been exposed to the world multiple times, she can do this. Let's continue.
You testify that he actually grabbed that woman's wrist and twisted it, right?
And told her that he could effectively break her wrist by saying he knew how many pounds of pressure, or asking her how many pounds of pressure it took to break a human wrist.
But your own witness, your former best friend, Rocky Pennington, she didn't corroborate that, did she?
I'm not quite sure what part of that night she saw. There were a lot of people there.
Okay, notice that in this case is a legal interrogation, and Camille is trying to bring Amber to every single one of the statements that she has said, that Amber has stated, okay, but are not possible, or either not possible to corroborate, says her friend cannot corroborate that part of the story, or they have been disproven by other witnesses, or they are just inconsistencies, total inconsistencies that she herself has said. But the most important part is that you cannot start from the dessert, from the nicest part, the juiciest part. No, you have to go little by little, by the small things first, and then the most shocking parts at the end. That is important, because you want to be like weakening those defenses progressively. Okay, that's the trick of a good interrogation, to bring in the person like they are in charge of the situation when it's not. You are in charge. Camille is the shark here, and you. Sadly, the take of the camera doesn't allow to watch her smirks, but she's smirking, she's smiling, she's looking in Johnny's direction. And it's a way of taunting, of challenging Amber and trying to upset her even more. Okay, like I am the one in charge here. You have to do what I say, but you have to do it in a subtle way, because in this moment, Camille is in a position of power. Okay, maybe when you do an interrogation, you are not going to be in the same position of power of Camille in this moment, because Amber has to answer Camille's questions. Okay, no matter what, she's got the upper hand in this case. So that's something that we have to take into consideration. Let's continue.
She didn't testify that Mr. Depp grabbed anyone's wrist in Hicksville.
Again, I don't know what Rocky saw. There were a lot of people there that night.
You testified that once you brought Mr. Depp back to your trailer, he trashed it, correct?
That is correct.
And the manager of the Hicksville trailer park was furious that Johnny had wrecked the whole thing. Do you remember that testimony?
That's correct.
That's what Amber had said, that the manager of the trailer park was upset that Johnny had trashed the trailer.
Well, we heard from that manager of the Hicksville trailer park, Morgan Knight, on Monday, didn't we?
I'm not quite sure who that guy was or if he had any involvement in this. I know a lot of people have come out of the woodwork to be in.
First, Amber said that the manager was upset, and now she said that she has no recollection, doesn't know what that man was, who that man was. You understand that? It begins mounting. You simply have by this point, that's the benefit, that you let people talk. And by talking, I mean having all these days, all these weeks of recollections, of witnesses, of everything, and you just go cherry picking, that term, the exact things that you need to people to hang on themselves. That's all that you need. You have all the ingredients, patiently cherry picking those ingredients until you have a case, and you have all the ingredients to do a cross-examination that will destroy your credibility, and it's the last thing that the jury is going to hear, and that is the most important part. the the thing that is gonna ring in their minds, okay? Of course, until tomorrow, are the closing arguments. But that is very important. That is very important characteristic. The last thing that they saw from the testimonies, from the cross-examinations.
Involved.
So you're accusing Mr. Knight of testifying and committing perjury?
I'm not accusing anyone. I just don't recognize that man.
Notice that, again, Amber is unnaturally just turning to the jury and answering a very short question, of course, and answering that I don't know who it is. I'm not accusing anyone. But she could perfectly answer that facing Camille, okay? And the jury will not be offended or anything. That will be a natural way of answering a short question with a short answer, okay? That is bad advice. That is bad legal advice. That is bad body language advice. If you are into law and if you are into courtrooms, please don't do that. Being natural is the only way to look confident. And being confident is the only way to convince a jury. It's like the way Dr. Curry answered. She didn't have to look at the jury all the time. She sometimes turned around to look at the jury, but most of the time she was answering directly to the attorney that was asking the questions. Okay, that is natural way that we talk. We answer to the person. That is, you're showing good manners that way. So be advised with that.
You heard Mr. Knight testify that it was actually you who was upset with Mr. Depp spending time away from him. Isn't that correct?
How would he know? He wasn't there.
You heard Mr. Knight testify.
Okay, look at reaction. Look at, I don't know if you can see Johnny's attorney. I forgot his name. I'm sorry. I have. If you can remind me his name. Look at. Can you see his reaction? I'm gonna put
Wasn't
it.
there.
Gonna put it in slow motion. He has been really calm and collected. At that moment, he has that reaction. What? Like, wait. How is it possible that you answer that? I'm gonna play that because it's really. It's Ben Chu. Sorry, I was mixing his surname and last name. Here you go. Ben Chu, reaction.
Correct?
How would he know? He wasn't there.
You heard Mr. Knight testify that it was actually you who was yelling at Mr. Depp.
Again, I've heard a lot of people say a lot of things to be involved in the Johnny Depp show, but he wasn't there. He doesn't know. And he certainly doesn't know what happened behind closed doors.
Notice that Ben's posture changed and he's leaning forward. It's like he's saying, "I cannot believe she's saying this. I don't. How you?" And he is looking around him, and Johnny is subtly is smiling. He said, "What is this? What is this woman saying?" I'm sure that this is even more ingredients that they're gonna use tomorrow for the closing arguments. But it's like. He saw in the direction of the jury. It's like he was assessing, are the jury really going to buy into this? I'm going to assess. Let me take a look. He's assessing the jury. It's like, what is this? What is this woman saying? Is she aware that this is gonna be written? And the jury is going to have all the time to review all the transcripts of everything and compare the inconsistencies that she's talking. That's good. That is very nice. I could even say that my estimates of Johnny winning the case could be 95% now for what I'm seeing in their body language in this glorious, blissful 25 minutes. Let's continue.
He wasn't there. He doesn't know. And he certainly doesn't know what happened behind closed doors, like most people.
So you're calling Mr. Knight a liar?
I am saying he wasn't there, and what he testified to.
Now, look, Ben is not believing this. He's not believing what he's hearing, and he's again looking to the jury, trying to assess their reaction, and Johnny is trying to keep calm and collected too. It's very interesting to watch.
Doesn't match what I know happened. But I don't fault him. He wasn't there, so how would he know?
He testified he was there, Miss Heard. Did you hear that?
That's his testimony, yes.
So you're calling him a liar.
I'm just saying he wasn't there.
You heard Mr. Knight testify that
Notice that question, that tiny question, that very, very small question is really important. So you are calling him a liar. Okay? That question is important because it summarizes what Amber is saying. Okay? That this man wasn't there, but he testified that he heard Amber yelling at Johnny. Okay? So in effectively, you're saying that he lied, that he committed perjury, saying that were you the one that were yelling at Johnny? That question must be direct and simple and sharp at the end to let the person, in this case Amber, understand the scope of what she's saying. She can do all the word salad she wants. Okay? She can like decorate it in any way she wants, but she has to answer that question. So you are saying that he was lying. Okay? That is important. To be at the end of every mini argument, be specific. So you are saying that he lied. Okay? For Amber, everyone is lying.
you heard Mr. Knight testify that the trailer wasn't trashed, and that's why you're calling him a liar.
He testified that a light fixture was broken, similar to the way that
Yes,
Johnny's
other than a light
employees
fixture. That was
testified
the
to
only
my
thing that was
closet
broken,
being
right? Ms.
rearranged
Heard?
and things
Ms.
like
Heard?
that.
Notice that Amber doesn't pause when Camille interrupts her. I remember in this case, Camille has the upper hand, has a position of power. She is in command of the interrogation, is in command of the cross-examination, sorry. And maybe you don't have the luxury when you will be making this kind of questions. My recommendation is you learn to not stop talking if it's your turn to talk, okay? If you have to deal with maybe not toxic personalities, but maybe difficult personalities, maybe your character is not that harsh. If they interrupt you, you are used to shut your mouth and then, well, let they say what they are going to say. Learn to not stop talking. Just disconnect your ears. Do not pay attention. If you're talking, it's your turn to talk. If they try to interrupt you, just keep on talking. That is one of the most powerful ways you can win a discussion, because you're talking. If the person interrupts you, you can just lose track of what you were saying, and they can even twist the conversation in another way, in another path or another angle that's gonna just break what you were saying. So you should really be able to not even slow down, not even lower your voice. The other person wants to interrupt you, just go ahead and keep talking, okay? Keep talking. That's. I know it's difficult for some people. It was difficult for me. I'm not a man that's gonna do that easily. You had to learn that, and I can do that at will anytime. So it can be learned. I can assure you that.
The only thing that was broken in the trailer, according to Mr. Knight, was a light fixture. Yes or no?
I realized that he summed it up by saying a light fixture was broken, just the way his security guard summed up him trashing my closet as being rearranged.
Your Honor, I'm going.
Body language, very important. There are many body language signals that you can learn in books, in guides, and everything. You can learn body language in my guide of 100 body language tips that you can download in the link of the description of this live. It's absolutely free. You can download it for free. The easiest body language signals in the face is blinking. Blinking tells you a lot about the person's emotional state, especially if you learn to count them. It's much easier than card counting in blackjack. This is far easier to do, and much more fun because you learn to identify those frequencies, those blinking frequencies, and you know when the person is feeling anxious, okay, and is feeling anxious for something, and the person might be controlling their body language expression, and the person might be controlling her voice, but I can guarantee you that they will not be aware at all about their blinking frequency. That is next to impossible, okay, next to impossible. Notice her blinking there.
According to Mr. Knight, was a light fixture. Yes or no?
I realized that he summed it up by saying a light fixture was broken, just the way his security guard summed up him trashing my closet as being rearranged.
Your Honor, I'm going to move to strike everything after he summed it up that it was a light fixture as non-responsive.
In this case, Camille is recurring to the judge, saying that, hey, this the defendant in this case, Amber, is not answering the question. So I'm gonna summarize everything that she's saying, like blah blah blah, unresponsible. Unresponsible in this case means that she's word salad, okay? The usual word salad. She's not answering the question, and it's not working for the effects of what they want to find out. Okay, unresponsible. This is another technique that Camille is doing to set the idea on the jury that Amber doesn't want to answer directly. There's also to undermine her credibility. There's no way out that she doesn't want to answer the question. There must be a reason that she doesn't want to answer. That's why Camille just does not give her another opportunity to reframe her answer or anything. This is unresponsible. Let's move on to the next question. This is by design. Camille is a shark. She knows her shit for good. This is an spectacle. This is blissful to watch. This is great to watch. Okay, this is amazing. This masterclass. But let's continue.
So the question, Your Honor.
Overruled.
In the security guard testimony, Your Honor?
I'll allow it. Go ahead.
Mr. Knight also testified that he charged Mr. Depp only $62 for the damaged light fixture. You heard that, correct?
I did.
In Hicksville, you were the only one that was jealous that Mr. Depp was spending time from other people. Isn't that correct, Ms. Heard?
That is incorrect.
In Hicksville, you were the one who was upset that Mr. Depp wasn't giving you enough attention.
Incorrect again.
That sounds a lot like a narcissist that needs attention, that doesn't tolerate that their target, so to speak, doesn't give them enough attention, and they're giving other like fans or maybe I don't know what kind of engagement had Johnny in there, but they become jealous of that. Okay, and she must have been aware who she was in a relationship with. Okay, from the start. So that is quite I don't know, like, well, let's continue.
Ms. Heard, you told this jury that you had no idea the press was going to be at the courthouse when you got your TRO on May 27th, 2016. Do you remember that testimony?
I said I did not have anything to do with it. Yes.
No.
Notice that Camille doesn't like sweeten the change from one state or one topic or one subject to the other. She just blows right past that and goes straight to the other topic. This is also to destabilize the person. Okay, there's no easing in on the next topic. She just goes straight there and begins to ask difficult questions. Like, you didn't know that the paparazzi were going to be at the exit of she filing her TRO, her restraining order against Johnny.
I said I did not have anything to do with it. Yes.
Single shoulder shrug. You must have watched the series Lie to Me. Lie to Me was great, was very interesting, a bit too technical. Maybe it was the format that was not too appropriate, but there was a lot of insights, real insights, because Paul Ekman, a real researcher, was the advisor of the film. In this case, Amber does a single shoulder shrug with her left shoulder, that is never a good signal.
I did not have anything to do with it.
I didn't have single shoulder shrug with her left shoulder.
But I did not have anything to do with it. Yes.
It's easy to spot. It's another easy to spot. Doesn't have a meaning in itself. It doesn't mean directly that she's lying, but she's uncomfortable and she's not confident of what she's saying. So we have to cast doubts of what she just said. And just in case, if you didn't hear that, because it's very easy to be paying attention to the body language and not paying attention to the verbal, to the words, which is a mistake. What did she say at that point?
I said I did not have anything to do with it. Yes.
I didn't have anything to do with it. She raises, does a single shoulder shrug, and she presses her lips. Again, I will have serious doubts about that. It was that longer, if it was an actual criminal interrogation, I will just keep it cool. Will maybe keep asking questions about the same topic, and at some point I will come back to this. Okay, because I know that there's one problem. There's something unresolved with her involvement in that paparazzi at the exit of the courthouse where she filed the TRO. Okay? Just two signals. They don't in themselves mean anything, but it is your duty to go back to that topic because you know that there's something fishy in there. Now, we have the flappy fish market, so, well, it fits.
No. My question again. You told this jury that you had no idea that the press was going to be outside after you got the ex-parte TRO on May 27th, 2016. Do you remember that testimony?
Notice that Camille is reinforcing the fact that Amber gave testimony on that fact in front of the jury, said that expressly. She just wants Amber to confirm what she said. Okay, and a very, very easy answer. Did you say this or not? And she's saying, Camille is even putting the answer in her mouth. This is your testimony. This is something that is transcribed. This is something that is in the papers. You cannot escape from that. I'm telling you that you say that because it's in the books already. Amber just has to say, yes, I did. Or if she says anything that, yes, I did. If she says, I guess I did, her credibility begins to low again. Because if you're not sure what you said under testimony, under your own memories, your own recalling your records, then the jury is going to be doubting about every word you say.
I apologize. I must have misunderstood Ms. Vasquez. I actually had no idea whether they were going to be there or not. When I walked into the courtroom that day, it was completely quiet, still, empty. Even though I had given Johnny's team notice that I was filing the TRO,
Your Honor, this is not
we had no reason to believe the press knew.
And you're
This is not responsive. Camille is doing exactly the same strategy as before. Camille knew that Amber was going to start with a word salad. Camille already has studied her prey. Okay? What does she do with this? This is irresponsible. She is not answering the question. She's eluding the question. How does it look against the jury? Lack of credibility. Why don't you answer the question yes or no? And that's it. Answering yes or no is the easiest way to keep your credibility intact to a yes or no question. It's that simple. To a yes or no question, anything else that is not a yes or a no is going to be suspicious. It's going to be seen absolutely, well, not absolutely, but if you do it repeatedly, people will have serious doubts about what you're saying. And if you're getting those answers like that, well, it's not a good sign.
Honor, I would also ask that you instruct the witness to please stop talking once I lodge an objection.
Notice something that happened here. And this is important it has happened a couple of times. And it happened to Roddenborn that inspired the song Objection Hearsay, that he objected his own question. But you see that here, Camille actually objected to her own. She said an objection, but she said an objection in terms of that is not being responsible. That Amber is not answering the question. She's making an objection. Notice that Camille objects to that moment.
Quiet, still, empty. Even though I had given Johnny's team notice that I was filing the
Objection,
TRO,
Your Honor, this is not
we had no
responsive.
reason to
Move to
believe the
strike.
press knew.
She objected. Why? Multiple strikes, and she says she talks to the judge, the higher authority. Please instruct Amber to shut her mouth when I object, because that's the way that it has to do. That's the way it goes. Okay. Camille knows that she has the power, but at the same time, she remembers, makes Amber remember that the ultimate power here is, the power is the judge, and the judge is gonna tell her with all her sweet voice, because the judge has a very good attitude, very sweet attitude towards both parties, has been very patient with Elaine. We have to give her that, and she's gonna tell Amber, please just limit yourself to answer the questions. I want to make a 10-second pause to thank you for being 20,000 body language bodies here. I have never made a live with 20,000 body language bodies. This is my first time. I'm really thankful for you being here. If you haven't done so, all you have to do is hit the like button. I'm really grateful to see all you here. If this is your first time, just subscribe, hit that bell, hit like, and thanks for sharing this space with us. Judge telling Amber, just answer the damn question, girl.
And Your Honor, I would also ask that you instruct the witness to please stop talking once I lodge an objection.
Your Honor, she's trying to answer the question as best she can, and Ms. Vasquez is misrepresenting to her what she testified to.
Well, I'll strike the last part as non-responsive. Just if you could just answer the questions asked. Okay, thank you, Ms. Hurd.
Very, very sweet. And the last part was, I can see that was a strike. The last part was not responsible. Will you please answer the question? Yes, we have to go. We want to go home early today.
In fact, you testified that you were, quote, shocked when you saw press when you were leaving the courthouse. Yes?
Yes.
You weren't shocked at all, though, were you?
Incorrect. It was
You knew the press
horrifying.
would be at the courthouse, right, Ms. Hurd?
No.
Okay, notice something that Camille has done this time, different from before. She's beginning to press on. So far until now, she had made the questions and has let Amber answer in her own way. She, do your word salad, and I'm just going to say that you're unresponsible. She has done that twice, okay? This is the time that she has to switch the strategy and not do it a third time, because then it will get boring. Okay, and we already are bore certified from every witness that has bored us to death. So she changes the strategy and begins to press on and says, you were not surprised at all. Is that correct? You were not. And Amber begins to answer facing the jury, and Camille interrupts her to do it, to press on again. I think it's from this point.
Incorrect. It was
You knew the press
horrifying.
would be at the courthouse, right, Ms. Hurd?
You have to go a bit farther here.
Shocked at all, though, were you?
No. A few seconds.
Questions asked. Okay,
Here.
thank you, Ms. Hurd.
In fact, you testified that you were, quote, shocked when you saw press when you were leaving the courthouse. Yes?
Yes.
You weren't shocked at all, though, were you?
You weren't shocked at all, were you? She's telling to her face, you are a liar. Okay, she's telling to her face, you weren't shocked at all. It takes a lot of brass balls to talk like that. It takes a shark to talk like that.
Incorrect. It was
You knew the press
horrifying.
would be
She interrupts her at that moment. Incorrect. She begins to her word salad. She goes for it. Camille goes for it instantly. She's changing the strategy of interrupting to begin getting Amber out of balance. This is really important.
shocked at all, though, were you?
Incorrect. It was
You knew the press
horrifying.
would be at the courthouse, right, Ms. Hurd?
No.
Well, you did bring your publicist to the courthouse with you on May 27th, 2016, didn't you?
I sure did. I'm a public figure. I brought my publicist in case it blew up. In case. And
You
I'm
actually
glad
had
I
a
did.
lawyer.
Notice I was expecting, I was listening to her answer at that moment. I was expecting her to say, I bring my publicist everywhere. That's normal. I'm a public person. I want to do something that possibly is going to blow up. But every time I go to a place that will be relevant, positively or negative, I bring my publicist. But she said, I bring him in case it blow up. Okay, she uses those words. It doesn't have a direct meaning, but it's interesting that she assumes that it could blow up. Okay, when she could have said, I bring them, well, almost everywhere when it's relevant, and this case was relevant. That way will be a natural answer, and we would have lowered the heat of the question, okay? But she fell into the trap of using the words blew up.
Alerted TMZ that you would be filing a TRO against Mr. Depp that very
No,
day,
I did
didn't
not.
you?
No, I did
The
not.
one day you didn't bother to wear makeup to cover up the mark on your face.
I did not call TMZ or any other news source or paparazzi source. No one.
Well,
I
we
never
heard
did that.
testimony from former TMZ employees.
She could have sent an email or an SMS or anything else. Maybe she didn't call. Hey, it's Amber Heard. Hello. Oh, this is not Amber Heard. Sorry, I am not Amber Heard. I'm calling in behalf of anyone. But you know how it goes. But let's press on.
Morgan Tremaine yesterday, correct?
Did I hear his testimony?
Yes.
Yes, I was here.
Yes. And you heard Mr. Tremaine's testimony that he knew to dispatch the paparazzi to the courthouse on May 27th, right?
I heard him say that he knew that, yes.
Yeah, and that he dispatched paparazzi to the courthouse to capture a picture of an alleged bruise on the right side of your face. Do you remember him saying that?
I remember him saying that.
That
Blinking, double blinking. Remember that double blinking when she heard the words, she was lying?
I remember
Double
him
blinking?
saying that.
that information must have come from your team, right, Ms. Heard?
Absolutely not. Why would I want that? What actual survivor of domestic violence wants that?
Now, the
What actual survivor? What actual survivor? Don't you find those words odd? Again, it's not that you're gonna catch the person for one single thing, but it's odd wording here, body language display there, inconsistency there. You begin to say, hey, this is something fishy in here.
that information must have come from your team, right, Ms. Heard?
Absolutely not. Why would I want that? What actual survivor of domestic violence wants that?
Now,
The blinking was through the roof. What actual survivor? I'm an actual survivor. So you mean that there are non-actual survivors or fake survivors or I don't know, discount survivors or I don't know, or semi-survivors. What are actual survivors? It's like you're trying to emphasize the fact that you are an actual survivor. Who has survived domestic violence and calls themselves an actual survivor? I don't know. That's like suspicious, to say the least.
the video of Mr. Depp beating up some kitchen cabinets, you admit that you took that video, correct?
Yes, I did.
Right. And you acknowledge that the video
Blinking again through the roof. She knew that the kitchen smashing video was going to be mentioned, and we know why.
correct?
Yes, I did.
Right. And you acknowledge that the video was released online the day before you were deposed in connection with your divorce from Mr. Depp in August of 2016, right?
I believe it was, yes.
But you testified that you had absolutely nothing to do with the video's release, right?
Absolutely not.
And you testified that you learned about it when you landed after flying into LA. Do you remember that testimony?
Upon touchdown is when I was alerted to the video's
You
existence
heard Mr.
online.
Tremaine testify that
She wants to appear frustrated or angry at the fact that the video surfaced online, but it's too many coincidences that are just circumstantial, but that those paparazzis appear at the exact moment that they was nice for them to appear. She going out of the the court when she was filing the TRO, and the video surfaced online at the best moment possible in time, and the video was filmed by her. Okay, both the only she and her publicist knew when the day when she was going to file the TRO. Okay, and only she knew about the video because the video was filmed by herself. You cannot tell me that the jury is not gonna see all this. Like, oh my God! So how can I tell you that we could not be suspicious that were you the one who planted this? And this comes to the good part when Camille asks about why the video that surfaces in TMZ is cut to not show the part that she is smiling and grinning and smirking and laughing at the recording that she just took.
About this video as well yesterday, didn't you?
Yes, I did.
And you heard Mr. Tremaine testify that TMZ received the cabinet video the same day you landed at LAX, yes?
I don't know if I don't know if that's what his testimony was. I'm sorry.
You heard Mr. Tremaine testify that the cabinet video was posted 15 minutes after TMZ received it, yes?
That's what I heard him say.
And that this could only have been possible if the video was received directly from the source, yes?
I heard him say that. I don't know if that's true or if that's possible because
And
it
you
didn't
heard-
come from.
Okay, TMC guy said that what video is published as fast as that only when it's been confirmed or vetted by a source, and the source can be an intermediary, but the intermediary is going to be very fast. The 15 minutes is just to insert the TMC logo at the start and at the end, and that's it. So 15 minutes is, of course, it's blazing fast. They were absolutely sure. Camille is trying to make the jury understand that the 15 minutes was due because they knew exactly where the video came from and who filmed the video. Okay, that is something that you cannot escape. And how convenient that the version that surfaced online did not show you laughing at what you had done, filming, getting Johnny smashing. You want to see crazy and all that stuff.
Me, I was
Mr.
flying.
Tremaine
So
testified.
I know that's incorrect, is what I mean to say.
Another liar on the stand.
Another liar, another person is lying. Okay, we have how many liars so far? We have 2 liars and someone that did not saw what she needed to see. I don't know. Well, we have. I needed to put a key. Even my Spanish goes out. I'm too passionate about this. I should have a liars counter in this live, and bing, activate the liar counter. We got 2 liars.
I just know that that's incorrect.
Notice how Ben Chu is assessing the jury. He's looking at Amber. She then looks at the jury. He turns to look at the jury. He wants to see their reactions. He's measuring their reactions so he knows what kind of emotional points he can use tomorrow for the closing arguments. This is part of the strategy. This is part of the tactic.
And you heard Mr. Tremaine testify that TMZ owns the copyright to the cabinet video, right?
That's news to me.
The cabinet video you filmed of your then husband, yes?
The copyright ownership of that is news to me. I learned that yesterday.
It's the cabinet video that you captured of your then husband, yes?
That is correct. I did capture that video, and yes,
cabinet
that was
video-
my husband.
The same cabinet video that was released the night before you were deposed in your divorce, yes?
That's correct.
You must have also heard Mr. Tremaine testify that the version of the cabinet video that TMZ received was incomplete compared to the video the jury saw in this trial. Did you hear that?
The video that you have seen is complete.
Right. But the one TMZ got the day before your deposition in the divorce was incomplete.
I don't know. I haven't seen it.
She must know because she heard the testimony of TMZ guy. She knows. She knows that. Okay, there's no way around. It doesn't have it and it is preposterous that she says that she did not see that video. Don't you tell me that you don't see the video that surfaced online on TMC that you filmed, and you don't know how that video got there. And a video that you filmed about Johnny smashing some cabinets that you allegedly, supposedly, you don't know anything, anyway, how it surfaced online, and you're gonna watch it to confirm what was going on. If this is the video that you filmed, to what's this breach of security? That doesn't add up. That doesn't make sense. Maybe that is a bit more complicated for a jury to understand, but it doesn't add up. From a practical perspective and from a common sense perspective, if you realize that something that you filmed privately for you surfaces online without your consent, you will rush to watch what's going on. Maybe you are aware of the Pam and Tommy video. You know how it went, right? The first thing that they did was rush to see what was going on, and if the video was the video that they were thinking about. And you know how the story went. Well,
He testified that at the beginning portion of the video where you set up the camera, that wasn't included in the video that TMC received.
I don't know what video TMZ
I'm talking
received.
about Mr. Tremaine.
I don't know what video TMZ received. That's something you're trying to. I don't know. I don't recall. You can all use those resources only so much until, okay, you may not remember some details, but not knowing what video did TMZ receive, that is preposterous. How can you say that? We don't need battle language. We just need common sense.
Testimony misheard. Let's just
So you're
focus on
asking me to
Mr.
repeat
Tremaine.
his testimony?
No, I'm asking you if you recall hearing him say those words to this jury.
Yes,
Under
I
oath.
heard his testimony. We all did.
And he testified that the end of the video where you can be seen smirking. I know you testified earlier that you haven't been smirking in this trial, but you sure were.
There is that amber closest. That's what it's called a long blink. A long blink is when you close your eyes for a second. It means that the person wants to be anywhere else. They want to just evade the situation. They don't want to be there. And this is what's happening with Amber right at that moment. She's remembering, I'm so stupid. I should have cut the video, the original video, and just leave that as it was sent to TMC and just disappear the rest of the last part of the video. Why did she kept the whole version? There you go.
I know you
Long
testified
blink.
earlier that you haven't been smirking in this trial, but you sure were caught on camera smirking in that video.
I disagree with that.
Was also not included in the TMZ video.
Everyone can watch that video and you can determine whether you think it's funny to me or not.
That's because the video came
Yeah, what's funny to her or not. And we have seen in this trial what is funny to her or not. Like the faces she puts when Johnny was talking about Whitney, she was only pleased of what is funny to her, how she treated her sister, and how Johnny was the one looking after Whitney, and how heartbreaking was when Whitney testified and said that Johnny was smacking Amber in the face with a cast hand. That's something that you cannot make this up.
from you, right, Ms. Heard?
No, it did not.
You
That
edited
video
out
did
the
not
portions.
come to me. No, I
Ms.
mean, come
Heard,
from me.
Ms. Heard, you edited out the portions that made you look bad before sending it to TMC.
You're very wrong about that.
So that
if I
only
wanted to
Mr.
leak
Depp
information, I
looked
could have
bad.
done it in a more effective way, a lot sooner and a lot more.
Because
I
you
was
knew exactly
living
how.
with
Wait, what did she say there? Let's hear her again, shall we? This is important. This is really important.
effective way, a lot sooner.
Wait. We have to go. We have to rewind here because this is also important. And in the heat of the battle, those words were spilled.
Before sending it to TMC.
You're very wrong about that.
So that
if I
only
wanted to
Mr.
leak
Depp
information, I
looked
could have
bad.
done it in a more effective way, a lot.
If I wanted to leak information, I would have done in a more effective way. Doesn't that sound a bit like a narcissist to you? If I wanted to hurt you, I will have hurt you in a more effective way. That is creepy. This is real Amber. This is real Amber going afloat. Look at Ben Chu's face. He's enjoying that every second of it. This is the real Amber talking. If I wanted to leak information, I would have done it in a more effective way, because I'm more effective at leaking information. You see what I'm saying? It was not me. It was no one. It was her that she said that.
Before sending it to TMC.
You're very wrong about that.
So that
if I
only
wanted to
Mr.
leak
Depp
information, I
looked
could have
bad.
done it in a more effective way, a lot sooner and a lot more.
Because you
I
knew
was
exactly
living
how to
with
do
a
that,
mountain
right?
of this evidence. If I wanted to leak it, I could have done a lot more with it.
Then why didn't you do it? Then why? That doesn't make sense. So you are this. It began, ended with this victim face, but had your arrogant, powerful, power hungry. We need that Johnny text. Gold digging, low life, power hungry narcissist. Oh my God! I will have this frame. This frame reminds me of the movie White Chicks.
A lot sooner and a lot more.
Because you
I
knew
was
exactly
living
how to
with
do
a
that,
mountain
right?
of this evidence. If I wanted to leak it, I could have done a lot more with it.
I thought you testified earlier in this trial that you didn't know how to leak things.
I
Remember
don't.
that?
What the fuck? What? I don't. This is no. We have to sing the Bohemian Rhapsody now. This is not.
In a more effective way, a lot sooner and
Again.
a lot more.
Because you
I
knew
was
exactly
living
how to
with
do
a
that,
mountain
right?
of this evidence. If I wanted to leak it, I could have done a lot more with it.
I thought you testified earlier in this trial that you didn't know how to leak things.
I
Remember
don't.
that?
You testified earlier that you don't know how to leak things. I don't. But what the fuck, girl? Choose one. Choose just one. What is this? This is a train wreck. I really didn't notice how many things. I had to watch this twice to realize how much material was this to sink Amber Heard. Yes, give it 95% odds that Johnny's gonna win this, because this is absurd. This is a theater of absurdity in every aspect. This is the moment that Amber realized that she fucked it up really, really, really bad. That she was screwed. This is the moment that you can hear that little crack inside, that little thing that broke inside Amber, and she said to herself, "I am screwed."
You edited that video before you gave it to TMZ so that only Mr. Depp would look bad. Yes?
That's absurd.
Right in the middle of your divorce proceedings.
Again, you're very wrong.
I'd like to show you a picture that's already admitted into evidence. It's Defendant's Exhibit 799.
Look at what Camille is gonna do. She went in for the kill like a shark, take a small bite, and then she's gonna retreat a bit. She's gonna retreat a little. She's gonna lower the temperature a bit, okay, just to see what happens, just to give her some confidence again. There's something that you do to reel a bit back, give her a bit of a line, and we'll see what happens.
This is you at the courthouse on May 27th, 2016, when you got your domestic violence restraining order against Mr. Depp, right?
It is.
And next to you is a woman named Jody Gottlieb, right?
Yes, yes.
Jody Gottlieb is your publicist.
And dear friend.
Now I'd like to show you what's been marked as Plaintiff's Exhibit 1316.
There's some delay in showing the other picture here. Let's wait for it.
This is a
Couple
picture
seconds.
of you and your friend Rocky Pennington, right?
That is correct.
Your Honor, I'd like to move to admit this photograph.
Any objection to 1316?
Couple seconds more, and the picture will show up.
No, Your Honor.
All right, 1316 in evidence. You can publish to the jury.
This is a picture of you on May 28th, 2016, right, Ms. Heard?
2 days
I
later.
don't know when this was taken.
This is the day after you obtained the domestic violence
day
restraining order against
after.
Mr. Depp, right?
I have no idea when this image was taken. I did not take it.
There's no bruise
Since I did not take the photo, I have no idea when this photo was taken. No, because you never saw this photo before. You have not talked about this photo with your attorneys. You have absolutely no way of justifying the fact that you don't look battered or hurt or anything in this picture. So just your only defense is say that you don't know when this picture was taken. That is really. That is absurd. You must have talk with your attorneys this 100 times and at least have a competent alibi about what the hell was happening here and how this makes sense. But you don't have it. And the only thing that you can say is, bring the tequila shot. I don't know. I don't recall. I have no information. I really forgot this. That's all that you have. This is all that you got.
on your face in this picture, is there?
Again, I don't know when this was taken, and also I'm outside. I was obviously wearing makeup.
I was obviously wearing makeup. What kind of makeup is that? That is full Casper makeup or what? Full white makeup. That really looks like no makeup to me. And it comes with a matching hairstyle of no makeup. But how can I know? I'm a man. I don't know about makeup.
I have no idea when this was taken, so I have no idea if I can speak to what bruise you can see or not.
Let's refresh your recollection about when this picture was taken. Can we please pull up Plaintiff's Exhibit 1315, just for the witness? This is an article dated May 30th, 2016, right, Ms. Heard?
That's what it says, yes.
And this article contains the same photograph of you and Ms. Pennington we were just looking at, yes?
Yes, I see that.
And the article is entitled, Amber Heard Smiles as She Puts Arm Around Friend One Day After Getting Restraining Order Against Johnny Depp. Is that what the title says?
I know that's what the title says, yes.
Your Honor, I'm going to move to admit and publish the article with everything but the headline and date and the photo redacted.
Objection, Your Honor. That's inconsistent from the way you've treated all of these.
I'll sustain the objection. All right, next question.
Let's take a...
Okay, in this case was dismissed, was sustained the objection. You're gonna see we're gonna follow the questioning of the article that showed that picture with a date, with a title, so the people could see that. Well, sadly, we have to move on, but it doesn't matter because Camille had enough aces under her sleeve to just bring this home.
Look at picture Plaintiff's Exhibit 1317. This is also a picture of you and Ms. Pennington on May 28th, 2016, isn't it?
I don't know when this photo was taken, but it looks like the same outing as the picture prior.
Your Honor, I'm going to move to admit and publish Plaintiff's Exhibit 1317.
Any objection?
No, Your
All
Honor.
right, 1317 in evidence, you can publish.
A similar photo. It's a similar photo.
There's no bruise on your face in this picture either, right?
I disagree. If it is taken when you represent it was taken, then obviously there's a bruise on my face. It's covered by makeup, as per usual.
Let's zoom out of that picture for a moment, please. Thanks, Tom. That's Josh Drew in this picture, right?
Yes, that's correct.
And Ms. Pennington
That is correct.
in there too?
That
Ms.
is correct.
Pennington submitted a sworn statement on your behalf in support of your domestic violence restraining order, didn't she?
I believe she did, yes.
Mr. Drew also submitted a statement in support of your domestic violence restraining order.
I believe they both did, yes.
Ms. Heard, I'd like to show you Defendant's Exhibit 512, which is already in evidence.
Lowering the heat.
You've seen this photograph before, right?
Now, pay attention. This is like 5 minutes. We're gonna talk about this photo, this picture, and this is gonna be by design the most damaging part for Amber's credibility, and we're gonna see why. You have to just listen to the words. I'm gonna be pausing to explain how she sets up a perfect trap for Amber to just fall into it.
On the second day of your direct testimony, you testified that this was taken in the downstairs of the main apartment on December 15th, 2015.
December 15, 2015. That date is important. She testified that she saw that, she took that picture or saw that pattern of wine on December 15, 2015. That is important.
Do you recall that testimony?
Yes, I believe so.
So it's your testimony that Defendant's Exhibit 512 reflects damage to Penthouse 5 that occurred during the December 15th, 2015 incident. Yes?
I'm not quite sure from what incident this is when I see this photo in a
Now she is not quite sure. First, she says, Camille is telling her, this is what you said on your testimony on your second day of I don't know which week. This is what you said in your testimony. And Amber says, I believe it. Yes, I did. And when Camille asks again, well, I'm not quite sure, she says this time. This is gonna be getting messy. This is again by design. Camille knew that she was gonna slip in this question. We continue.
vacuum without context.
Let's give you that context. Can we please, thanks. If I could have day 16 trial testimony.
I know that it doesn't look like, but I know that Johnny's enjoying this too. And I'm enjoying this too because 30,000 body language bodies now. That is amazing. Never in my life. Not even 20,000. I have 30,000 of you. Thanks for being here. Thanks for being here sharing this
Could you
amazing
please turn first to
masterclass.
page 4585?
Another page, another record of her own words. Remember to hit the like button, friends. And thanks for that. Really supportive. Just hit the like button. 30,000, I can't believe this. This is amazing.
Specifically starting on line 16,
Okay, you're gonna do the
where
line.
it says, let's talk about December 15th, 2015.
You said 458. I'm on 4485. Sorry, you said 4584.
4585.
December
Line
15,
16.
2015. You get to that page, she reads her own testimony, and then the magic happens. Wait for it.
Line 16, where it says, let's talk about December 15th, 2015. You see that?
Yes.
Okay. And then do you see that your testimony about December 15th, 2015 follows?
Let's see. It's just the first line or two.
Amber's trying to not collapse at this moment. She's trying to not die inside. She's realizing that she screwed up again. Maybe she hasn't realized yet.
Yes.
Okay. Now I'd like you to turn to page 4603. Starting at line 12. 4603.
Wait for it. Magic isn't coming. It's not gonna be pretty for her.
Starting at line 12 and going on to page 4604, line 4.
Okay, and Camille is doing this. Okay, notice that in previous questions, Camille has served what Amber has said in her testimony. Camille made the shortcut to just telling her, this is what you said in your testimony. In this case, she's changing the setup. She's giving Amber the book with the complete transcript, and it's making her read, because maybe she don't remember. It's gonna making her read her own testimony, have the transcript of her own words on her hands, so there's no way she can escape the words that she already said. This is another way of trapping her, of cornering her into what she has already said before. So there is no way around. There's no word salad that can save you. There's another level of threat. It looked like she was lowering the temperature, but she was setting up Amber into the perfect trap. There's no other way for that. A trap is not that Camille is playing foul or bad or anything. It's simply a trap that Amber herself got her into it.
Okay.
And do you see that you testified that Defendant's Exhibit 512, which is on the screen,
Yes,
is a picture of the downstairs of the main apartment?
that's correct.
And the main apartment is Penthouse 5 in the Eastern Columbia building, right?
No, well,
Begin to talk
depends
about
on what-
the
main apartment is
whereabouts,
penthouse 3
the
generally when we say main
specifics
apartment.
of the
Penthouse
apartment.
5 was where you had your closet?
Penthouse 5.
The downstairs
How
was
many
kind of like
penthouses
had
did
some of my
Johnny
painting
have?
studio set up and a reception area. Upstairs was the closet. Mezzanine office was in between.
All right, so it's your testimony that Defendant's Exhibit 512 reflects damage to the penthouse, Penthouse 5, that occurred during the December 15th, 2015 incident.
How many times has Camille repeated the date? December 15, 2015. You have noticed that? It's like 8 times already.
Right?
I'm just not sure from which incident this is a picture of, since I'm only looking at
Even
a
though your
partial
counsel
floor.
was asking you questions about December 15th, 2015, and then admitted this picture into evidence
Again,
in
in my
relation to that incident.
Sorry, go ahead.
In relation to that incident on December 15th, 2015.
Like 10 times.
This exhibit, Defendant's Exhibit, you are the defendant, number 512.
You are the defendant. You filed this as evidence for December 15, 2015.
Was admitted into evidence in this court. You testified that this was the result of damage that occurred on December 15th, 2015.
12 times, I don't know.
Yes or no?
I just need to orient myself because I'm just looking at a picture of a partial
No.
picture.
I just need to orient myself. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just screwed. I'm just going in circles here. I'm gonna pass out. I don't know what kind of defense I'm gonna do
Ms.
here.
Heard, you didn't just
So
look
I
at a
can't.
picture.
Elaine, please save me. Elaine, where are you going? Elaine, why are you running? Why are you running?
You looked at your testimony.
You pointed me towards the page and then asked me a question. I haven't actually reviewed it. I don't know if this was submitted in relation to that incident.
Let's actually leave up Defendant's 512 and please pull up Defendant's Exhibit 725, which is already in evidence
Thank
in
you.
redacted form, Your Honor.
All right, thank you.
Whitney is at the back already regretting not having escaped to North Korea.
Publish.
Just side by side.
The same picture. I'm sorry that it was caught in the editing, but it's the same picture.
You've seen this
It's like that meme from The Office. It's the same picture.
photograph as well, right?
I have.
On the third day of your direct testimony, you testified that this photograph reflected spilled wine in Penthouse 5 on May 21st, 2016. Didn't you?
What?
Again,
What's the date?
I don't know because I'm
Wait. Did they change? How
You've
can
seen
they-
this photograph as well, right?
I have.
On the third day of your direct testimony, you testified that this photograph reflected spilled wine in Penthouse 5 on May 21st, 2016. Didn't you?
May 21st, 2016. Man, how many months did that wine stay there and did not dry or anything or evaporate? What how is it possible? And the lighting, they took another picture, or how does that happen?
Again, I don't know because I'm looking at a partial picture of a floor. So unless you remove the metadata you've covered up, we could then tell. If you
I didn't
remove-
cover it up, Your Honor.
Could we unredact
Your Honor
them so we could get?
Camille is trying to say, I did not cover it up. And Your Honor, the judge is the one who requested to cover it up to be able to show that here. So don't be silly. You're making a fool of yourself. Your attorneys are making fool of themselves. They don't know. I don't know what kind of feeling they be going through at that moment.
Context.
That's how it's in evidence.
That's how
All
it's in
right.
evidence.
Next
Well,
question.
the metadata next to it is so that
Ms.
to
Heard,
avoid this
Ms.
sort of
Heard,
confusion.
there is no question pending, and I would appreciate it if you wouldn't be making argument to the jury.
So you cannot talk unless I tell you that you can talk. You understand that Camille is going full shark because she wants to set up what's coming later. And she needs to be full shark so she can trigger Amber in such a way that Amber is going to get carried away. And that's what Camille wants. To Amber get carried away by her feelings, by the real Amber that wants to just say, I am better than all of you. I am better than my silly lawyers. I am better than this, whatever she called Johnny. I'm better than you, Camille Vasquez. That's what Camille is trying to do with her at this moment. And she's doing it step by step. This is magical.
Sorry, I thought you had asked me about it.
No, I didn't ask you about anything.
That Bourne had not asked you about anything, so shut the fuck up. I have to listen to that again. I need to listen to that again. I feel good when I listen to that. I already listened to that like 8 times, but a 9th time will be fine for me. I'm sure for you too.
Data next to it is so that
Ms.
to
Hurd,
avoid this
Ms.
sort of
Hurd,
confusion.
there is no question pending, and I would appreciate it if you wouldn't be making argument to the jury.
Sorry, I
It's
thought you had
inappropriate.
asked me about it.
No, I didn't ask you about anything.
The Bourne. I didn't ask you about anything. That is. I need a meme. I need a meme with that.
Let's look at your direct testimony from the 3rd day.
Look what happens here.
Yes, ma'am?
She's gonna approach quickly. She's gonna bring the guide. She's gonna continue.
Thank you.
Here comes the good part. Your patience.
Thank you.
Your patience will be rewarded, my friends. Here we go.
Let's turn to page 4750 in day 17 transcript.
Sorry, can you repeat that?
4750.
I do remember that when Camille is telling her to jump to a certain page, Amber's attorneys at the same time are doing the exact same thing to try to anticipate what are the questions that she's gonna ask, so they can request to approach the judge for a Hail Mary at the last minute to prevent Camille from doing some kind of questions, right? So this is what's going to happen.
Specifically line 16. Do you see where Ms. Bredehoff asked you to describe for the jury what took place on May 21st, 2016?
I see that.
And do you see that your testimony is reflected about May 21, 2015?
Yes.
That follows? Okay.
Yes.
Now let's turn to page 4804.
The
At line
inconsistency
14.
in the dates of the photo
4804.
on 2 different testimonies
Starting
on
at
2
line
different
14?
days.
Yes.
Through 4805, line 4.
Going to what line?
Line 4 at
What line?
4805.
Which one? I forgot how to read.
Do you see that you're testifying that defendant's exhibit 725, which is reflected on the right side, reflects spilled wine on the floor in penthouse 5?
That's correct.
Okay. And defendant's exhibit 512 and 725 seem to be different versions of the same picture, don't they?
That's correct.
Okay. So which is it? Which one was taken on December 15th, 2015, or May 21st,
Please tell us.
2016?
How is that
If you
possible?
remove the redacted metadata, you can find out. It's right there.
Or if you're telling the truth, you would know.
Recognize.
If you're telling the truth, you will know which one is which, but you can't possibly know because they're the same picture and you mention them in different moments in time.
A portion of of spilled wine on a floor, and I'm supposed to know off the top of my head when you've
No.
lived through 5 years of this stuff? I don't think so. That's not how that works.
That's not how it works. Look, Amber gets cornered, and suddenly the power-hungry gold digger just she lets the claw out. She wants to be aggressive. That's not how this works. Then, if this is not how it works, then why did you mention the picture at all in your testimony? If you don't remember, if you can possibly remember a reference of a spilled wine and a bottle, how was this accepted as evidence if you cannot remember when the photo was taken? If you can possibly know about the inconsistencies that you set yourself up to, and Johnny's attorneys are just ripping you to shreds.
Of spilled wine on a floor, and I'm supposed to know off the top of my head when you've
No.
lived through 5 years of this stuff? I don't think so. That's not how that works.
That's not how it works. That is not how it works.
Okay. Thank you, Tom.
Look at Johnny. Look at Johnny. Johnny is rejoicing.
Thank you, Tom. Ms. Heard, at the beginning of your cross-examination
Your
last
Honor, may
week...
we approach?
Your Honor, this is the Ambrose attorneys. Can we approach? Can we do something? There comes a rather long pause, like 30 seconds. I edited that pause to streamline this, but they were already getting nervous because we have less than 5 minutes left in the video, and they were getting really nervous, and this is the best part, my friends. This is the part that makes the headlines. This is the part that is worth the ticket price.
All right, ladies and gentlemen in the gallery, I would ask that there be no words or no phrases, no words, no sounds at all coming from you. If I hear one more sound, I will clear the gallery and we will continue this testimony without anybody in the courtroom. Understood?
Yeah, the attendants at the courtroom at that moment must have been so shocked by the fact that Amber was already semi-destroyed at that moment by that question about the two pictures that were the same picture, that they must have been like mumbling or something. There must have been some kind of reaction, and they cannot make any kind of noise. And the judge is telling them, please stay quiet. But that gives you an idea that everyone in that room that had been quiet all this time, they couldn't help but react to the fact that what was happening in front of their eyes at that moment. They're watching just the destruction of Amber's credibility. They're witnessing that.
Good. All right, your next question.
Ms. Heard, at the beginning of your cross-examination last week, I showed you an audio where you told Mr. Depp to tell the jury, tell the judge, tell the world that he is a victim of domestic abuse. Do you remember that?
That's correct.
And you testified you found it hard to believe that Mr. Depp would tell the world that he's a victim of domestic abuse, didn't you?
I said I find it hard to believe that he would do that knowing that he himself had beat me up for 5 years.
But he has told the world that he's your victim of domestic abuse, hasn't he?
Well, he started to say that only recently. He didn't make that claim up until very recently. So when we signed our divorce agreement and we signed a statement saying that neither party had ever said false claims for financial gain.
Okay, I want to say something for those of you who have been victims of narcissist and domestic abuse. That's something that your abuser is going to tell people when you come out. If that's so, if that's how she says, is that how he says, then why didn't they say that earlier? Why are they saying that now? Are they trying to gain something? Don't you find that suspicious? You know me. You know how cool I am with society, with family, with everything. You know I'm the cool one. Those accusations are just nonsense. And if they're tracing back to years back, then why didn't they come out earlier? Because that is part of the gaslighting. That's part of the control they want to exert over you. They make it sure that always hovering you in again, love bombing you, bringing you back, making you believe that that it can work again, like at the beginning. It was so beautiful, so perfect, so everything for you. And so when you finally try to come out and say, I've been abused through years, they're gonna use this exact argument. It's the book. It's written by the book. What a narcissist is going to say, a malignant narcissist is going to manipulate the public, saying, if this was happening, why did they begin saying about that now and not before? Because before, they still had hopes that they could make things work. And in fact, that's a state that the narcissist, the manipulator, wants you to be constantly, to thinking that you can make things work, that you can please the narcissist, that you can do something to make things lovely again. Do you have to constantly earn the scraps of love that they throw at you? And it's pathetic, and it's sad, and it's everything. And this is I have to repeat Amber's words, and you're going to remember that, and you're going to record them in your mind. So when you listen to someone speaking like this, you will know what they are really saying.
I said I find it hard to believe that he would do that knowing that he himself had beat me up for 5 years.
But he has told the world that he's your victim of domestic abuse, hasn't he?
Well, he started to say that only recently. He didn't make that claim.
He started to say that only recently. Okay, only recently. This is important. Maybe the abuse was from years ago, but just for the fact, he's trying to make it seem that because he began to say that only recently, then it's not valid. It must not be true. He's making things up. And every single victim, and not actual victim, no, every single victim, that's it, of domestic abuse knows that it is never that easy to come forward, and it's gonna be judged at the moment that they come forward, and it's the first one that's gonna destroy whatever attempt and trying to escape the manipulation is gonna be the manipulator. There's no way around that.
Up until very recently. So when we signed our divorce agreement and we signed a statement saying that neither party had ever said false claims for financial gain, it was relevant and important to me because I was the only one making the accusations. I was the only one making those claims. He wasn't doing that at the time, and he signed his name to it.
You didn't expect as many people to show up and testify on his behalf that did you?
This is the part when Camille tries to just bring her off balance, throws a question that has some relation with what has already been said, but throws it in a different direction, a direction that Amber could not expect. You did not expect that people gonna come out and speak in behalf of Johnny, right? This is to trigger Amber emotionally. We have only 3 minutes left, and these 3 minutes are golden. Every sentence counts. There's so much that you can learn from this, starting from, again, this question.
Testify on his behalf.
Sorry.
At the time, and he signed his name to it.
You didn't expect as many people to show up and testify on his behalf that did you?
Incorrect.
When you told this jury under oath that you never assaulted, actually, strike that, sorry. When you told this jury under oath that you punched Mr. Depp because you thought of Mr. Depp pushing Kate Moss down the stairs, you didn't expect Miss Moss to agree to testify that never happened, did you?
Incorrect. I know how many people will come out of the woodwork to be in support of Johnny.
I know how many people will come out of the woodwork. Camille asks specifically about Kate Moss because that was the most relevant counter argument about that planted idea that Johnny had pushed Kate down the stairs, okay, which we already know that it never happened. It was just a rumor that Amber wanted to plant during her own testimony. Camille asks directly, uses the name Kate Moss, and Amber does everything she can to not mention her, because that is a complete screw up on her part. She has to answer in a general way. There's another tip that I can give you. Every time you ask a specific question, you're expecting for a specific answer. If you ask a question on a specific subject or topic or person, you want the answer to mimic the specificity sorry for that word, of the question you asked. Okay? If you ask specific questions, but you get general answers, that is a problem. Or general focused answer. People, she talks about people that are going to come out of the woodwork to talk in behalf of Johnny. She's not talking. I'm gonna repeat her. Listen to her answer. I'm gonna make sense of that answer.
Expect Miss Moss to agree to testify that never happened, did you?
Incorrect. I know how many people will come out of the woodwork to be in support of Johnny.
So you
To be in support of Johnny. Okay, of course, she will never say to tell how things really happened, to tell the truth. She will never say that. She's not that upset, or it's not that stupid to say those words. She's gonna say in support of Johnny.
think
Clear
Miss
by this
Moss
courtroom
needs
how
to
many
come
people
out
will
of the
do that.
woodwork to testify for Mr. Depp?
Even Camille is mocking her. Are you telling me that that expression that you use, coming out of the woodwork, like coming from difficult places, from I don't know if you can explain that expression better to me, that would be great. But it sounds like you're trying to extract witnesses from where they aren't, from nowhere, to talk on behalf of Johnny. But Kate Moss herself testified to set the record straight that you were planting a rumor just to turn the jury, or to convince or manipulate the jury in a way that it was not true. Well, how can we tell you this? She's trying to minimize the testimony of Kate Moss at this point.
Everybody who was around in the 90s and the early aughts knew that.
Thank you, telling that coming out of nowhere, okay? Coming out of nowhere. And of course, you couldn't say, that's why Camille is mocking her. You're telling me that Kate Moss is coming out of nowhere to say something about this? It's not like someone that is looking for her 15 minutes of fame, right? You know what I mean. Elaine, you got your ass handed back by TMZ guy. We will never forget that. It will be on the records of the internet forever.
Rumor. I had heard that rumor from multiple people. Of course, that's what flashed through my head when my violent husband not only swung for me, but all of a sudden swung for my sister. Of course I thought of that.
You remember my diagrams about that swing at me and swing at my sister? That doesn't make sense. So wacky physics that she is coming up with to justify whatever story about the stairs.
I did not expect her to show up or not expect her to show up. It didn't matter.
I did not expect her to show or expect her to. It didn't matter. Of course it mattered, because it was a rumor that you're talking about. Something that is a complete hearsay. It's not something that you experience by your own experience, or by yourself. It's something that you heard from someone saying something that was not confirmed. How couldn't it possibly not be relevant? What are you talking about?
Husband not only swung for me, but all of a sudden swung for my sister. Of course I thought of that. I did not expect her to show up or not expect her to show up. It didn't matter. It doesn't change what I believed at the time when we were on the stairs and I thought he was going to kill my sister by pushing her down the stairs.
Notice that Amber is getting to the point. We're getting to the point that Amber is really upset. Is really upset. She is moving her head in a more intense way, in quick reactions. There's more stress in her voice. Camille is taunting, mocking her on purpose, so she begins to lose it. And this is what she wants her to be. Okay? Last 2 minutes, only 2 minutes left. I'm really amazed that there are 36,000 body language here. 36,000 body language bodies here with me. I'm really grateful for this. I'm really grateful for all your super chats, your super stickers, for all your donations in my PayPal account, in the link in the description. You really make this work. You have really made my evening, my night, just for the sheer number of body language bodies here is great. The experience has been great. Notice this dynamic. This is a master class that I never thought I was going to be witnessing today. And it's my greatest pleasure to share this with you, my body language buddies, and to welcome you again to hear the last part of the test to the cross-examination of Camille Vasquez to Amber Heard. Here we go.
You told this jury under oath that Mr. Depp was aggressive and trashed a trailer in Hicksville. You didn't expect the manager of the Hicksville property, Morgan Knight, to come forward and testify that that was untrue, did you?
Incorrect. I've already been through trials with this man. I know how many people will come out in support of him.
Notice that Camille goes back in a reprise of the trailer park that that Johnny was supposedly trash. She's asking easy questions. Okay?
When you told this jury under oath that you had no idea that the paparazzi would be at the courthouse on May 27th, 2016, you didn't expect a TMZ employee to show up to testify that TMZ had been alerted that you would be at the courthouse and knew exactly which side of your face to take a picture of, did you?
I know how many people will come out and say whatever for him.
Notice that Camille is reviewing every single question that she has made so far in this 26 minutes, in this 25 minutes, 24 minutes, and reviewing that she had stated things and she never imagined that there were people that would come to just disprove what she had said. And she started with mentioning Kate Moss, then the manager of the trailer park, then TMZ guy, and here we go on and on. This is the final, the final stretch, the last curve. This is when you have to go all in and take no prisoners, and that's exactly what Camille the Shark did in Full Flight.
That's his power.
Sorry, Full Flight is not the right. I use that expression bad. It came out bad. Camille the Shark did, and with full power. Full power is the right expression.
That's why I wrote the op-ed. I was speaking to that phenomenon. How many people will come out in support of him and will fall to his power? He is a very powerful man, and people love currying favor with powerful men.
Amber is the one that should have left in Full Flight at this point. And notice how Ben Chu leans forward, but knows that here comes the dagger that Amber is gonna put in her own mouth. I'm gonna repeat that, and you're gonna listen what she says next.
Many people will come out and say whatever for him. That's his power. That's why I wrote the op-ed.
That's his power. That's why I wrote this op-ed. Okay? She's mentioning that Johnny has power. Johnny has people that can vouch for him. Anything, that can say anything for him. Okay? Even if, as Camille says later, even if committing perjury, you're telling that all these people come out of the woodwork, of nowhere, risking committing perjury just to support Johnny. And then that's why you wrote the op-ed. Then you're telling us that all this trial, we get into the highest point, we get into the dessert of this trial that is based on that op-ed that was a defamation of Johnny Depp that caused a huge loss to his career. And you're accepting that you did it on purpose because Johnny is a powerful man that needed to be brought down with any means necessary, and you wrote then that op-ed. You just lost your case. It's that simple, girl. You just screwed that up. It's like I don't know how your attorneys didn't have a stroke at that moment. What did you do? What did you do? That was exactly what they wanted. And you might be asking yourselves. I'm gonna repeat these words. I know exactly what is the question that you're asking in your mind. I'm gonna ask you, and you're gonna see that I know what is the question that you have in your mind. I can read your mind. Well, let's listen to this again.
Did you?
I know how many people will come out and say whatever for him. That's his power. That's why I wrote the op-ed. I was speaking to that phenomenon. How many people will come out in support of him and will fall to his power?
You might be asking, why isn't the Johnny, Benchu, or Camille just jumping after she says this? In such a moment, how can they remain calm and collected? They need to. They must have no reaction. Why? Because if you show any reaction, the person will realize that they are putting their foot in their mouth. And then when your enemy is making a mistake, you do not interrupt them, not verbally, and not, especially not with your body language. And that's why it's a mistake that Amber was always looking at the jury, because she couldn't possibly know the smirk that Camille had at that moment that confirmed that she had Amber where she wanted. Amber could have the slightest opportunity to notice that she had been cornered if she had been making eye contact with Camille, the one that was making the questions. But just turning to the jury over and over again, not having that feedback, just led herself to believe that she could get away with that with just her words, because as a narcissist, well, I can do whatever I want. I'm better than all of you. And that's the biggest mistake she just made. We're witnessing a magical dynamic of human behavior, of a big mistake, and a strategy that Ben Chu, for example, tries to not move a muscle, okay? And Camille has one hand over the other, almost controlling herself. I shouldn't move. I should not move. I should just let her talk. I have. That is the moment that you have to shut the fuck up. And sorry for the harsh words, but we get carried emotionally when we uncover a person that is saying something that hurt us, that when they are finally accepting the lie, that they're confessing, that they are accepting what they did, we are, at that moment, we will get emotional. That is the most difficult part of an interrogation. You have to remain calm and collected and try not to react. Like what you're listening is you're not even understanding, or you're not even computing it, because you don't know what else the person can say beyond that point. If you begin to react, if you begin to interrupt, if you begin even to move a muscle, the person will be like, well, let me take that back. Like she took that back when at first she said that she recognized the photo from December 15, 2015. And then she said, well, wait a minute, I'm not so sure now, on the second time that she was asked about. So I told you that it was going to be a masterclass. This was no exaggeration. This was one of the greatest clips I've seen in my whole career. And I just wanted to share it with you. When you're watching someone revealing themselves, do not move a muscle. Do not react, because you have to let them talk all the way to the end. Do not react. I know it's hard. I know you want to jump. I know you want to scream. I know you want to, I don't know, you have this vein in the side of your neck, like pumping. I scream, but you have to remain like poker face, okay? Poker face. Remember when I told you that in discussions, you have to keep talking no matter what? Well, now I'm telling you, then when this happens, you have to do exactly. You have to remember Benchu, you have to remember Johnny, you have to remember Camille, that they're not moving a muscle just because of that. Okay? Best lesson in body language, I don't know, in all this year, I could say, is something amazing.
A very powerful man, and people love currying favor with powerful men.
Currying
and I know
favor
that
and
firsthand. I've
risking
lived
jail
it.
time for committing perjury.
Excuse me? I didn't hear your
You
question.
didn't hear
Excuse
my
me?
question?
Camille goes full bad cop on that. You didn't hear my question? And look at Benchu, he's leaning forward. He's leaning forward because he knows here comes the good part.
Ms. Vasquez, if you do mind,
Curry.
please just repeat the question. I didn't hear you.
Curry favor and commit perjury in this courtroom?
So you're telling us that people are going to come and just to create a favor and commit perjury inside this courtroom for Johnny. You're saying that everyone is lying but you. Everyone is lying but you. After all that we've seen, after all the questions that Camille has asked, that she couldn't have possibly answered correctly or precisely or even in a consistent manner, and she has showed that over all the trial. This was the end game. There was nothing further than this. That was it.
I have
For a
seen people
powerful
do this.
man?
I have seen people do this time and time again. That's why I wrote the op-ed.
That's why I wrote the op-ed. Yes, we know that she had wrote it because it had her name on it. She had her endorsement on it, but it didn't have, and that was part of the attorneys of her legal team strategy. It did not have Johnny's name anywhere inside the op-ed. The op-ed doesn't mention Johnny, but Johnny's legal team wanted to prove that the op-ed was directly related to Johnny. And how did they do it? Well, they do it with real patience, with real step-by-step, impressive professionalism, getting Amber cornered up to this point in a way that I think nobody could foresee. Like, nobody could see this happen in such a spectacular way. I need to repeat the last 30 seconds to wrap this up.
I wrote the op-ed. I was speaking to that
A bit further. Yeah.
trials with this man. I know how many people will come out in support of him.
When you told this jury under oath that you had no idea that the paparazzi would be at the courthouse on May 27th, 2016, you didn't expect a TMZ employee to show up to testify that TMZ had been alerted that you would be at the courthouse and knew exactly which side of your face to take a picture of, did you?
I know how many people will come out and say whatever for him. That's his power. That's why I wrote the op-ed.
For him, that's his power. That's why I wrote this op-ed. You have just made the relation that your attorneys said was non-existent, and Johnny's legal team wanted to prove. Amber has just sunk her own case. There's no way in a sane world that Johnny couldn't win this case after that statement from Amber's own mouth, own words. No word salad, no flourish words, not complicated sentences. That is all. That is all that they needed. And that's why it just finished that in just like less than 2 minutes left.
I was speaking to that phenomenon. How many people will come out in support of him and will fall to his power? He is a very powerful man, and people love currying favor with powerful men.
Currying
and I know
favor
that
and
firsthand. I've
risking
lived
jail
it.
time for committing perjury?
Risking jail time for committing perjury. And you know who was thinking about that? I think it was Whitney was just thought about that sentence, said risking jail for committing perjury. That's what Whitney had that face on the back, because she was thinking about the sentence, risking jail for committing perjury. Oh my God, what did I get myself into? We'll say that North Korea will be is lovely in this time of the year.
Excuse me? I didn't hear your question.
You didn't hear
Excuse
my
me?
question?
Ms. Vasquez, if you do mind,
Curry-
please just repeat the question. I didn't hear you.
Curry favor and commit perjury in this courtroom?
And risk
I have seen
jail.
people
Powerful
do this.
man?
I have seen people do this time and time again.
Look at Whitney at the back. Risking jail. Risking jail.
That's why I wrote the op-ed.
You didn't expect Ben King, the house manager in Australia, to show up from England. He flew from England to testify that Mr. Duff's fingertip was found exactly where he said it would be. Did you?
I have never heard Johnny testify to knowing where his finger was, or really, frankly, making a claim that he knew where it was when it was found. I've never heard Johnny claim that.
You didn't expect
Johnny
Keenan
doesn't-
Wyatt.
Johnny has never
Ms.
actually
Heard.
said that.
Ms. Heard.
And
I think the
and
jury
he-
can,
yes.
Ms. Heard, there's no question pending.
Just shut up. There's no question pending. Just shut the fuck up. This is a very elegant way of saying just shut the little fuck up. Will you please? Just sip it. Sip it for good. There's no question pending. The jury has already the jury has already heard, ironically, what they needed to hear. Sorry about my English.
You didn't expect Keenan Wyatt, Mr. Depp's longtime sound technician, to show up and testify that Mr. Depp is not being fed lines through his earpieces, but instead music, did you?
Not that it matters much, but of course I did. I know how his employees treat him.
So you
I know how
probably-
his team treats him. Of course I expected that.
Okay, so you probably expect
Is that Amber has gone full narcissist, full power moves, full upset at that moment. She's just unhinged. She realizes she just realized she's processing in her mind what she just said, and she doesn't quite understand why Camille is beginning to ask this kind of silly questions now. Camille is asking this silly question now, very low on the temperature scale, just to divert Amber's attention from what she just said. Amber just sealed the case with what she said. So Camille must be sure that she just brings her out of that topic to another topic, stupid or simple topics, okay, about an earpiece or something. So the topic of she saying that she wrote the op-ed for Johnny is not touched again. So there's no way of correcting, or there's no way of going over it again. Okay, so there's no be no corrections. There's no be, hey, no, wait a minute, that's not what I wanted to say, and such and such. No, there's no second opportunity, girl. There will be no second opportunity because Camille is reeling you outside of that to, well, keep it as clean as possible. That is masterful. That is complete mastery in less than half an hour.
did Isaac Baruch just come and testify for Mr. Depp, right?
I'm not.
And she is going to live with the most emotional testimony was Isaac Baruch, this guy, with bird, bald man, very, very cool, that was in the version, it was in tears at the end. He wanted the best for Amber. He said that I want the best for Amber. I want her to find peace. I want Johnny to find peace. I don't want them to feel that way. And it was really touching to see. And that's why that's a strategy that Camille is applying also for the jury, to remind them of the most emotionally charged testimony in favor of Johnny. Okay, this is very important to leave this cross-examination with Amber's reaction to those tears, to those actual tears that we did not see in Amber herself. Isaac Baruch shed more tears than Amber in all this trial combined. How is that possible? You tell me, how is that possible? I don't know. I have no idea.
And testify for Mr. Depp, right?
I'm not sure I thought about that.
Yeah. But you didn't expect Mr. Baruch to weep for Mr. Depp after what you've put him through and so many others with your lies.
I
did you?
relate to Isaac because he and I are
There's
the
no
only
further
ones who
questions, Your
cried
Honor.
on this stand.
Nothing further.
All right. Correct.
She cuts her in the middle of the sentence. Have no further questions. Amber doesn't even expect that. He just, no further questions. And yes, Whitney is still thinking about that, risking jail for committing perjury. I have to play that again. I need to play that again a couple times because that is beautiful. When Camille asks the question, Amber tries to, I don't know, recollect, answer in any way, and she just cuts her. No more questions. That's it for today. Let's go home. I am hungry. And well, she just ate Amber Heard for lunch.
For Mr. Depp. after what you've put him through and so many others with your lies?
I
did you?
relate to Isaac because he and I are
There's
the
no
only
further
ones who have
questions, Your
cried
Honor.
on this stand.
Nothing further.
No further questions. Goodbye. That's it. Thank you. I love you all. Camille is out of the building now. This was amazing to watch. I have to tell you, this was amazing to watch in many ways, in many levels. After everything that I've seen in this trial, I absolutely regret of not covering every single day of the trial from the start. I didn't think that I had the stamina to stand 8-hour lives. Now I know I had that. Well, my health was a bit touched by this, but by then here I am, and I instantly knew. I told you earlier, for those of you that were in the prior live, that I needed to do something about this clip, because I sensed that there was too much information here. We are 2 hours, and this live has been amazing. It's literally a masterclass. I am absolutely sure. And with 38,000 body language bodies at this moment watching this, I know that this is something that impressively, almost 40,000 people, amazing people sharing this space with me, are going to learn something from this and are going to use in their lives. And your lives are going to be improved in some way, because you will be able to identify, not only identify, but also act and know how to ask questions. And maybe if you practice this enough, you will be able to know how to corner people in a very subtle manner, in a non-aggressive manner at all, because you saw that Camille applied the right pressure at every point of the questioning, sometimes even lowering the pressure, and sometimes even just distracting Amber once she got what she needed. I got what I needed. I just distract you, but I need to close my cross-examination with the most emotional part to just confirm, is there any kind of guilt within you? And you answer, and Amber's answer is, well, I haven't thought about that much. I think that everyone that saw Isaac at that moment, Mr. Baruch, you remember this man that was this big man with beard, bald, was talking, a painter, that he has been so traumatized for everything that he lived, that he hasn't painted in many years because of this. He was really touched. How is it possible that this man was so touched? And you just said, I haven't given him that much of a thought. Okay, that is showing your true colors. That is like you are relieved. Amber at that point was relieved that the pressure had gone down, so she just released that. What she was the real Amber. I don't care about the world. The world should care about me. That being relieved at the end is the Columbo technique. For some of you that are my age, or maybe a little more, you remember the Detective Columbo, that he used to ask all these silly questions, and at the end of the day, or at the end of the interrogation, he made sure to say, hey, just one more thing. When maybe the person that he was interrogating was already relaxed, that this guy doesn't know what he's doing, he's silly, he forgets things, he's so untidy, he must not be for real. But then at the end, when he was leaving, he was on the threshold of the door, and she just came back and said, hey, there's one more thing that I'm remembering. And then he asked the question that he really wanted to find out. But at that moment, the person was all relaxed. This has already finished. We can go home. I can keep doing what I'm doing. And then at that moment of relaxation, they have no barrier. They have no resistance. They let the answer just flow unconsciously. That's the Columbo technique. That's more or less what Camille wanted to do here when she mentioned at the end Isaac Baruch. She wanted the jury to look for themselves Amber's true character. Camille went there with a checklist, and she was checking all the crossing all the checklists one by one, little by little, and she managed to do everything she wanted. And she just, I'm absolutely sure that she won this case with this cross-examination. Of course, she couldn't have won this. She didn't win this by herself. That is silly. There was the cooperation of everyone and bringing all the witnesses and making sure that Amber made enough mistakes with both herself and with her witnesses so they could have all this arsenal for this climactic battle that was, well, the end game of this all. It was amazing to watch. I really want Johnny to win this case. I have to disclose my personal preference and my preference, what I want this to happen. I genuinely want Johnny to win this case. I genuinely want it. Yeah, at the same time, there will always be a possibility. There will be the odds that he might not win. But it doesn't matter, because the world saw the truth behind all that happened, and saw the true character, and saw the true Amber Heard. And I think that's a win. That's a win in general for many victims of domestic abuse. And I'm not gonna say actual victims of domestic abuse, okay? Because that is insensitive. That is insulting for victims, for the victims of both men and women that have suffered for years and haven't come forward because they are ashamed, because they are fearful, because their abusers have too much power, because they have been gaslighted into submission, because they have been spent years, decades sometimes, under that manipulation without knowing a way to escape, without knowing why everyone in the family, in the friends, in society just admires, just have this person in a pedestal, and you are the crazy one. Why are you thinking of leaving them? They're so perfect, they're so charming, so everything, so perfect in every way. And that is a suffering that is very hard to internalize. You need a lot of self-love and self-assessment to understand what's going on with your life. And this is going to be a great example, no matter what happens, that we can use to learn a bit more about us and the person that are around us, and how we interact with them, and how can we prevent this happening for us and for our loved ones. That I'm sure that is the biggest concern of many of you, and is of course my biggest concern, because sometimes one is more worried about our loved ones than ourselves. That is more or less of a mistake, because we have to take care of ourselves too. I always remember Dr. Jordan Peterson's book, 12 Rules for Life. I always remember that the second rule is take care of yourself as if you were a loved one. Okay, someone that you love a lot, someone that you want to care about, and treat yourself as that loved one. That's the great advice. That is important. Would you stand a loved one to be treated like this person is treating you? If you ask that question, you reframe the question, your situation, and that way you will find an answer quicker than if you say, hey, I don't know what I'm complaining, I feel great. But if you, a son or a daughter or a sister or a brother, someone that you really love, being treated this way, and imagine that they are treated the way that you've been treated, I'm sure you will realize that is not the way that anyone should be treated, and especially you. It's not that you are weak. It's not that you are that you cannot understand the other person. No, it's that you have to identify what is fair, what has changed, why the person has suddenly changed, or not suddenly, progressively changed into someone that just you have to buy your peace of mind with constant humiliating yourself to get scraps of love. This is what we got here. This is what we got in malignant narcissist relationship, toxic relationships. That's what I want to bring awareness to, and has been my work for years. And I wanted to materialize in this this channel. I talk this way because I want to help people, and sometimes I cannot do it on a case-by-case basis because it's impossible. I don't have the time to do it in a case-by-case basis. But I realize that I can grab these examples from the real world, what's happening. That could be, so many people say, this is not important. Things that are way more important in the world happening than this lawsuit, and two celebrities, two whatever you want to call them. But this is important. You will realize why. Because we can see them ourselves in them. They might be celebrities. They will be known worldwide. Well, Johnny, who is Amber Heard? I don't know. I didn't know her until yesterday. But you know what I mean. They are this ultra relevant, Johnny being ultra relevant A-lister that not even with all his reputation, not even with all his fame, not even with all his money, not even with all his connections, and not even with all his friends, could manage to avoid being defamed and being degraded and being brought down this way. And he did not deserve that. And we can learn from it. If he can suffer that way, what can we expect from ourselves? We don't have not even resources, but the emotional resources are basically the same. We can suffer some emotional pitfalls, where the same emotional problems from childhood, emotional traumas of any kind, and that's something that really levels us in a way that we have to be aware of them, because manipulative narcissists will use them to gain advantage over us. You will use those weaknesses, your emotional weaknesses, to gain advantage over you. And you really need to be aware of that. Really aware of that. I don't want to make this this live any longer. My voice has stood the test like a champ. I'm really grateful for my voice now extended all this time. I'm really excited. The adrenaline pumping. This is amazing. Being this moment with you, I'm really grateful. I cannot express in words what I feel at this moment. Being able to share this with you, all this is something. This is a video that I don't usually watch my videos again, but this is a video I want to watch at least once a week, because so many things I discovered in here, and I could express to you that I should review them, and I'm sure that I'm gonna watch the video and I'm gonna find even more details, more body language details that I need more time to just digest them deeper. But what we shared today, I am absolutely sorry that I couldn't highlight any of your comments. I'm really grateful for all your comments. It's gonna be tens of thousands of comments. It's gonna be amazing. So many body language bodies today. I'm really sorry that I couldn't highlight your comments, but I will remember this moment, and I will remember this this trial, and we're gonna remember this so many hours where we are shared together as, for me, an experience of my trial by fire, going live for hours, and in the case of the trial, just trying to make it entertaining for you, but in this case, trying to make it really relevant. Here is no objection relevance. I want this to be relevant for you. This is my job. This is why I wake up in the morning for. I want to make this kind of events relevant for you, and I will keep, it's my promise that I will keep making them relevant for you in a way that you can absorb, in a way that you can act upon, in a way that you can use to learn more about yourself, and in a way that you can live a more fulfilled life. It's my greatest pleasure to have shared this night, this evening with you, my body language buddies. And as in every engagement, every live, every video, it comes a moment that we have to say goodbye. And this is going to be really hard now for me, but I think we have a lot to reflect tonight, a lot to think about us tonight, and a lot to rejoice to being able to gather here and look for any other topic in the future. It doesn't matter. We will find a topic. I know we'll find topics to talk about them and to share and to learn and to be here together and to bond closer together and to learn and have a blast, have a lot of fun, because I have to say, yesterday's live was the most fun that I had in a long time, and all thanks to you. My body language buddies, my name is Jesus Enrique Rosas. I'm the body language guy, and until we meet again in another live or a recorded video or anywhere the wind takes us, and I hope it will be a peaceful shore so we can enjoy the trip and we can enjoy the horizon, the landscape, the sun, and everything. Please remember, most important thing is love, much love, and bliss. Reach that bliss, and all together. Take care of yourself. Was the greatest pleasure. Bye-bye. Over and out.